A Sierra Leonean refugee named OURY JALLOH burned to death in cell number 5 in the city of Dessau, Germany. The date, January 7, 2005. Police at the station have called it suicide. His friends and fellows have raised some damning questions. How do you tie your hands and feet and burn yourself to death? Jalloh was 21 years old.
Police brutality, institutional racism, Black Lives Matter. We hear these phrases in the news all the time, but in Germany, structural racism and police brutality often go under the radar. In 2018, we witnessed a shocking example of police violence in Berlin when officers beat a black man for allegedly stealing a bike. In this investigation, we look at how, when it comes to police brutality and racism, the German state and its institutions have decided to look the other way. On the 7th of January 2005, OURY JALLOH, a young man from Sierra Leone, was on his way home from a night out in Dessau, a small city in eastern Germany. Mukhtar Ba was one of OURY's closest friends.
Das ist die Straße, wo dann gelaufen ist, nach Hause, wollte uns erreichen, anrufen, aber konnte nicht, weil keine Guthaben am Telefon hatte. Ne? 3 Frauen gefragt, die auf die Straße gearbeitet haben, ob die den Telefon leihen können, damit uns anrufe. Daraufhin haben die dann die Polizei angerufen.
Police say they found him drunk, uncooperative, and violent. A few hours later, he was dead, his body severely burnt. After his death, police suggested that OURY JALLOH had committed suicide by burning himself alive.
Als gefesselt war dort, lag mit Händen und Füßen, dass die Matratze mit dem Feuerzeug abgerissen hat, dieser Schaumstoff rausgenommen oder rausgeholt, das angebrannt und hat seinen Kopf auf dieser Feuerzeug drauf gemacht. Das war diese Version von der Polizei.
We've obtained a trove of documents that suggest a different story. At the station, police searched OURY and put him in a cell where he was handcuffed to both sides of a fireproof mattress. That's when they claim he set fire to himself using a lighter that they say he must have smuggled into the cell, even though records show he was searched at least twice, once in the police car and once at the station. Gabriel Heinecke is the Jalloh family lawyer and has been working on the case for over a decade.
Niemand sagt, dass das Feuerzeug in der Zelle gesehen worden ist. Es ist nicht zu sehen. Es ist nicht auf dem Video zu sehen. Es ist auf keinem Bild zu sehen. Und dann 3 Tage später soll dieses Feuerzeug aus einer Brandschutztüte auf einen Tisch gefallen sein. Mir kommt das alles immer unwahrscheinlicher vor.
The documents we obtained show that the lighter could not have been anywhere near OURY JALLOH when he was burned, because the fibers on the lighter didn't match his clothes.
Wenn aber kein Feuerzeug in der Zelle war, muss eine dritte Person OURY JALLOH angezündet haben.
The police also claimed that foam from a damaged mattress could have been used as kindling to start the fire. Ian Peck, a London-based arson expert who has examined the entire data set of the OURY JALLOH case, is skeptical.
We've got testament from the cleaner to say that that mattress, if there'd been any cuts or tears in it, she would have changed it. She wiped the mattress every morning, so she's come in and she's done some cleaning either on the 6th or the 7th. She said that the mattress was fine, was undamaged.
It wasn't just the lighter or the mattress that raised eyebrows. In a recording of the phone call to fire services, it's clear that there was no sense of urgency and no one really knew what they were doing.
Ja, Polizeirevier, wir brauchten mal einen Wagen hier und zwar Notarzt haben sie gebrüllt, für den, der im Gewahrsam ist. Also wir haben hier sowas wie ein, ich weiß es nicht, meine Kollegen sind alle unten, also kommen Rauchschwaden kommen raus.
Rauchschwaden?
Ja.
Also brauchen keine Feuerwehr, sondern einen Notarzt.
Warte mal, ruf doch mal runter und frag, was die nun brauchen alles. Ich stehe hier oben, ich sehe nicht auf dem Monitor. Feuerwehr auch!
It took 6 minutes for the police to call the fire services after the fire alarm went off. And once the fire services did arrive, they were given false and confusing information, leading to further delay. Despite this, the police never changed their story. In fact, they went to great lengths to stage videos showing the scenarios of how he possibly could have killed himself. But these videos are misleading because in them, police use a different size mattress, making the use of a lighter while shackled look easy. But experts say the reality was very different.
The difficulty in lighting the cover, the restraints, the mechanics of getting the lighter from his hand, igniting the polyurethane foam, indicates to me that I think that there are some difficulties with the police findings in this case.
According to experts, the police process of collecting evidence for the case did not follow even basic protocol.
Stattdessen haben wir, ehe wirklich ein qualifizierter Brandermittler dort drin war, ein Zusammenkehren dieses Schutzes. Das heißt, diese Zelle ist praktisch besenrein verlassen worden. Man kann sagen, in jedem Punkt hat man eigentlich das gemacht, was die Polizei nicht machen darf. Und jeder Punkt hat dafür gesorgt, dass es eine größtmögliche Verwischung, Vertuschung, Verunmöglichung von Aufklärung gibt.
It seems strange that you would label small items on another package, but you're not naming a reasonably large item, like an 8-centimetre remains of a lighter. That would be absolutely paramount to the investigation, because that is an ignition source.
Dann gibt es, was sehr wichtig ist, eine Handschelle, mit der OURY JALLOH angekettet war an der Wand. Die kriegt man, als man die Leiche rausholen will, nicht auf. Also schneidet man sie ab. Hinterher hört man, der Hausmeister hat diese abgeschnittene Handschelle irgendwann einfach in den Müll geworfen.
As well as the handcuffs, other bits of crucial evidence weren't documented. And, in some cases, evidence simply disappeared.
I understand that there was some CCTV in respect to what went on within the cells, but unfortunately, all of this wasn't made available.
Court documents show that nobody is known to have seen that CCTV footage, nor has anyone ever heard the audio surveillance that every cell in Dessau police station was fitted with. In fact, the entire duty logs of that day disappeared. Bizarrely, police claim these crucial pieces of evidence were deleted for data protection reasons. The evidence that remains is an extremely graphic 4-minute-long video that police filmed. The video is only 4 minutes long because according to them, there was a power cut which forced them to stop filming. That's despite the fact that the camera they used was battery-powered. The smoke patterns in cell number 5 also tell a story.
You can see very clearly that the smoke patterning indicates the fire has started on the platform, so on the mattress. The smoke patterning also indicates that the cell door has been open for quite a large amount of the time of the fire, because the smoke patterning level inside the cell is very similar to what you also have in the corridor outside the cell as well.
So if the cell door was open while the fire was burning, then who opened that door? And why did nobody use the fire extinguisher that was clearly visible in the police videos? When a person is burned alive, then carboxyhemoglobin occurs naturally in their blood as a result of smoke inhalation. Maxim Smirnu was the first arson expert to run scientific tests on the OURY JALLOH fire scenario. He says that this key indicator just wasn't there.
There is no carboxyhemoglobin in the blood, soot in the lungs in very little concentration. Well, I suggested he was not breathing at the moment of his death. Normally, no carboxyhemoglobin. That means the person was killed before set up fire.
Volker Bittmann was the state prosecutor on the case, and after consultation with an expert commission, he said that there were clear doubts about the police version of events, and that it was more plausible that URY JALLOH's body was burnt after his death. Bittmann also concluded that there was enough evidence to open a case against the Dessau police.
An dem Punkt sind wir, und an dem Punkt hat auch der leitende Oberstaatsanwalt Bittmann im Jahr 2017 unsere Meinung mit vertreten, indem er gesagt hat, alles, sowohl die Kriminaltechnik als auch die Gerichtsmedizin, spricht dafür, dass URY JALLOH gar nicht in der Lage war, Feuer zu legen.
But then, something strange happened. The documents we obtained show that when Bittmann proposed this to his superiors, not only did they deny his request, they took him off the case completely and referred the trial to another court. How could this happen in a country that prides itself in the strength and independence of its civil and judicial institutions? The connection between black and immigrant death and fire is a strong one in Germany. From refugee homes that have been set alight by far-right arsonists to stories of refugees burning themselves alive. Eddie Bruce Jones is a legal scholar who has been following the URY JALLOH case closely.
In the public imaginary, there's a scene that people can tap into where asylum applicants set themselves on fire. And I think for that reason, maybe it didn't seem outlandish or impossible to try to sell that story to people without any investigation. There are so many holes and there's so much doubt, and the facts are so preposterous that if we can't manage to really try to delve a bit deeper in this case, then there are not many cases in which we'll be able to do that.
Die Frage ist also, wer war's? Es können nur Personen gewesen sein, die aus dem Polizeirevier kommen. Das heißt, es können nur Polizeibeamte, es können nur Personen gewesen sein, die gewusst haben, dass URY JALLOH da unten in der Zelle Nummer 5 liegt. Dafür, man darf niemanden vorverurteilen, aber dafür kommen insbesondere die Personen in Frage, die ihn festgenommen haben.
Hans-Ulrich M. and Udo S. were the officers who arrested URY JALLOH. Neither has been convicted for any crime in relation to the case. Nadine Said and Thomas Ndinda are activists from the organization Break the Silence, which is dedicated to getting justice for URY JALLOH's death. Their digging began with URY, but then it led to the uncovering of other cases of suspicious death, all linked to the Dessau police station.
It's not only URY JALLOH who was killed in this police station, it was also Hans-Jürgen Rose, who was killed in 1997. They beat him completely up and they destroyed his inner organs, and he was dying some hours later.
Documents show that Hans-Jürgen Rose was taken into custody twice that night. He was later found a few hundred meters away from the police station.
Diese Person hat Spuren am Körper, wo man sagen würde, das sind Folterspuren. Das alles ist kein Beweis, aber es sind Indizien, die dafür sprechen, dass in diesem Polizeirevier einiges nicht in Ordnung gewesen ist.
A second case also emerged, the death of Mario Bichtemann 3 years before URY JALLOH. Bichtemann was also found drunk and unconscious and picked up by the Dessau police.
Wir haben einen, der in der Zelle liegt, einen Bruch hat am Kopf und der gleichwohl nicht einer ärztlichen Behandlung zugeführt wird, sondern der liegen gelassen wird, bis er tot ist.
The activists don't believe it was just a case of negligence. The police characterization of victims in all of the cases that we looked at, including the case of brutality in Berlin, all follow a similar pattern. That they were drunk, that they were antisocial, that they were violent. For Mukhtar, this narrative has little to do with the friend he knew.
Das ist eine Struktur, fast ein System, wenn die Polizei eine Straftaten machen oder beginnen, der Opfer würde immer ein Täter. Die haben gesagt, OURY JALLOH hat mehrere Frauen belästigt. Jeder hat gedacht, sexuell belästigt. Hat er nicht. Stimmt überhaupt nicht. Er war überhaupt nicht aggressiv. Das stimmt überhaupt nicht.
In cell number 5, when police film OURY JALLOH's corpse, their choice of language is revealing.
Gleich die erste Zelle rechts wurde durch den Schwarzafrikaner belegt und ja.
I see kind of an emphasis on blackness. I mean, the Afrikaner part is important because it places him outside of the nation. So he's a black African that really, I mean, the implication is he belongs somewhere else.
Ja, kriegst du mal einen Schwarzafrikaner? Ach du Scheiße. Da finde ich immer keine Vene bei den Dunkelhäutigen. Dann bring doch eine Spezialkanüle mit.
Offensive language about OURY JALLOH isn't confined to just the police, as this phone call with resident doctor Andreas Blodau makes clear. Blodau was in charge of examining Hans-Jürgen Rose, Mario Bichtemann, and OURY JALLOH.
Und der Dienstgruppenleiter den Polizeiarzt anruft. Da gibt es einen Hinweis, piekste mal einen Schwarzen. Sowas sagt man nicht, wenn man ein Bewusstsein dafür hat, dass das rassistisch ist, wenn man sich das anhört.
We also obtained transcripts of 2 police officers talking about OURY JALLOH just after his death.
Hat er sich aufgehangen oder was? Nee, da brennt's. Wieso? Weiß ich nicht. Wir sind runtergekommen, da war alles schwarzer Qualm. Ja, ich hatte fast gedacht, gut. Alles klar, schönes Wochenende. Ciao, ciao.
Ist es alles nicht so recht greifbar, außer dass es ja andere Vorfälle gegeben hat, wo ich nicht unbedingt sagen würde, es ist nur Rassismus, sondern es ist eine Menschenverachtung, die aus der Atmosphäre dieses Reviers spricht.
Other cases have suggested that this misanthropy within the police may be a nationwide problem. German media has revealed that there is considerable sympathy in the federal police for nationalist parties. A 2018 investigation uncovered a neo-Nazi cell of at least 5 police officers based at Frankfurt Police Station. And in June 2019, German intelligence revealed that a neo-Nazi group of 30 people, mostly associated with the military and police, placed an order for 200 body bags and drew up a kill list of political opponents. For the refugee community in Dessau, OURY JALLOH's community, this misanthropy manifested itself as violent repression.
Ja, es gab so viele Flüchtlinge hier, die sich beschwert haben. Die ich kannte, die sind zu mir gekommen, weil die Verletzungen hatten in die Nase, manche im Kopf. Die sind zusammengeschlagen worden von Polizei. Wenn du als schwarzer Mann unterwegs hier gewesen warst, man hat dich sofort kontrolliert.
When it comes to statistics on racial profiling, Eddie Bruce Jones comes across a major frustration. The German state refuses to keep count.
So how many times a person is stopped and searched by police, you know, the racial difference, the disparity in how many times black people are stopped versus white people, let's say, in the UK and the US are extreme. You know, the disparities are quite large. Whereas in France and Germany, we can't really tell that narrative through statistics because the statistics aren't gathered in that sense. So we can't actually prove it per se, which makes it more difficult to discuss because the first thing that happens when a community says we're being targeted by police is prove it.
As well as keeping count, accountability in law enforcement is also a problem. Unlike in many other countries, Germany doesn't have a police investigations body that is independent, meaning whenever the police are investigated for any form of misconduct, it's the police themselves doing the investigating. All of this wasn't lost on the United Nations Chief Rapporteur, Mr. Ricardo Sunga, who looked into the OURY JALLOH case and other cases of police violence. His findings confirmed what activists had been saying all along.
The working group found that racial profiling by police officials is endemic. The government of Germany should establish an independent inquiry with the inclusion of the OURY JALLOH initiative.
None of the recommendations of the UN were followed up on by German authorities. These included that Germany should establish a commission that would publish a report on discrimination against people of African descent, and that legislation should be drafted to combat racism. Instead, the cases of police violence seem to have only continued. More recently, a case in Germany has drawn comparisons to OURY JALLOH's. In September 2018, Ahmed, a young man from Syria, was taken into custody illegally in the city of Kleve. 3 days later, he was assigned the identity of a man from Mali, despite their names, birthdays, and color of skin not matching, raising suspicions of manipulation of names in the police database. He then sat in a cell for 2 months before dying in a fire, which wasn't investigated for several weeks.
Diese Strafe, was die Polizei begangen haben, ne? Und haben sie dann fast alles in ihr Boot reingezogen. Das heißt, Staatsanwaltschaft, Justiz, Politiker, alle sind mit reingekommen. Die bringen jemanden verbrennen jemanden und dann nehmen die dann alle mit.
3 dead over 8 years, uncounted injured and abused. A culture of racial profiling that's led to the intimidation of entire communities. Yet higher authorities seem at best unwilling to acknowledge this reality, at worst complicit. Since OURY JALLOH died, there have been 2 trials, 2 charges, 2 appeals, and 5 lawyers working on his case, all of which has resulted in 0 jail time and barely any culpability. On the other hand, activists from Break the Silence have found that they are the ones being put on trial.
You know, why we are sitting in court? Why are not the neo-Nazis are sitting in court, you know? Why are they running around even if they are accused or they have to be in prison? They are not hunting for them. They are hunting for the people who are fighting for humans, you know?
If they are the good guys murdering people, we have to be the bad guys. This is very easy. It's just to discredit activism for the truth and clearing up in the case.
And the lighter, which police allege was Uri's supposed suicide weapon, has over the past decade become a symbol of police violence, state racism, and institutional inaction. But this activism has come at a cost.
Wir wollten nach Karlsruhe fahren, zum OURY JALLOH-Prozess. Da kamen über 25 Polizisten. Dann sind die hier reingekommen und haben gesagt, wir sollen alles am Boden legen, Razzia-Kontrolle, Drogenkontrolle. Haben uns alles am Boden hingelegt, haben die Handschuhe angezogen, ne? Haben sie uns nackt ausgezogen, haben sie versucht, uns überall herumzufummeln. Ne?
Man arbeitet mit Repression, man arbeitet nicht mit Offenheit, mit dem wirklichen Willen zur Aufklärung, sondern man versucht, diejenigen an den Rand zu drängen, die sich alle Mühe geben, seit 14 Jahren die Sache nicht ruhen zu lassen, sondern doch noch aufzuklären.
In 2017, there were 2,177 preliminary proceedings against police officers for violence, but only 2% went to trial. How many of those were sentenced remains unclear. For the families and friends of these victims, justice remains elusive. For Mukhtar, what remains are memories of a close friend that he lost.
Weißt du, damals war dieser Bürgerkrieg in Sierra Leone. Als dieser Bürgerkrieg in Sierra Leone brachte, dann ist er von Sierra Leone nach Deutschland gekommen, ne? Weil er hier ein besseres Leben gehofft hat. Ne?